All right, it's going to be father, which is lit.
Yep.
Son, right? Great friend in person, and the head basketball coach, men's basketball coach at
But
Portland State. Man, Mo, what's up,
crazy.
brother?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Chilling, bro. So let's um let's break it down a little bit in terms of upbringing, where you're from, etc.
Yeah, for sure. So, originally from Long Island, like 99% of campus, right?
Right.
Um, I was born in Westbury, which is Nassau County. Lived there for a couple years. Moved to Hempstead, which is another part of Long Island, Nassau County, for a couple years. Bounced back to Westbury, and then ended up finding a home in Uniondale.
Okay.
So that's where my mom lives now. I lived in Uniondale from sixth grade all the way through high school.
Okay.
So middle school, high school, and then that's kind of where my mom reside, and I go
Cool.
back, and that's
Cool.
where I lay my head.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Mom raised you.
Yep.
What was that like?
Yeah. So, I mean, single mother in a household with my little sister. Grew up from birth until I don't even remember, maybe early elementary school with mom and dad, and then when they separated, my older brother, I do have an older brother,
Okay.
who's 35. He went with my dad, and
Okay.
then myself and my younger sister, who's 30, she went with my mom.
Okay.
So it was interesting. I mean, my mom is my rock. I
Right.
think everyone says like I'm a mother's boy, but she just showed me that anything is possible. It was just
Absolutely.
her and trying to provide anything and everything for myself and my sister.
For sure.
She made it happen, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
that was kind of awesome to see.
For sure. So what's your relationship like with your pops?
Um, he's present. Like we talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him a call next month for Father's Day.
Right.
He reached out during my birthday, so I've seen him. He came up here, actually with my mom for my first game coaching
Oh
this
wow,
year,
that's cool.
against Ithaca. So it's not like he's not in the picture at all. Like we
Got
have
you.
a cordial relationship.
Got you. Got
Yeah.
you. As a father now, what has that done for you? Right. How has that shaped what you want to be for your son?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it allowed me to have a realization that like I want to be present.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to be there for anything and everything.
For
Like I
sure.
want to provide resources. I want to be someone that my son MJ can come to and be a confidant and talk to about anything.
Yeah.
Um, all the experiences in life. Hopefully, obviously, I hope he plays sports, but
Right.
I just want to be there. I just want to be present.
Absolutely. What's something that you would say to to a young man, right, that grew up, no, I don't want to say without, like you said, but without,
Yeah.
and as far as being present, what would you say to them in terms of just like getting by and getting through and completing tasks, man? Because we're gonna go through it, but you've reached a level that a lot of people like only dream of, bro. Kind of crazy,
Yeah.
right? In your profession,
Correct.
right? And to think about, you know what I'm saying, sometimes we think about like where we've been and where we are now.
Yep.
But as far as reaching out to those young men that grow up single parent household, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would just say that like anything's possible. You're gonna go through your bumps and bruises. Every day isn't sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah,
Um, I think you're gonna find an outlet or a role model or that quote unquote father figure, right? Which tends to be, your high school coach
right,
or
right.
someone that kind of helped you along the way. But I think the biggest message is, even if you don't have a two-parent household, it doesn't mean that you can't make it and do whatever you're set to do in life.
Agreed,
So
agreed. Nah, I love that, man. I've had a couple people up here, a couple young men, and they both had different situations where pretty much one parent, you know what I mean, was the one that was raising them, and they all had the same similar message,
yeah,
right? You can still do it. It's very possible. It's challenging, sure,
yep,
but it's very possible. And you might have to look into some other people, like you said, coaches, mentors, whoever, teachers.
yeah,
But it's possible and it's out there.
for sure.
To kind of detour, which is kind of cool that we did that on that path. What was high school like for you? Did you play? Obviously, play basketball, but did you play any other sports too?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people assume like I don't know. We'll talk about my college career, but I didn't really start playing organized basketball, like legit organized, until 10th grade.
Okay.
So, I'll be honest, I was a little bit of a troubled kid, made some bad decisions, I would
Hmm.
say, and had to learn from them. And I think that was one reason why I did not play organized. Like a lot of my friends played in middle school. Even when I got up to the high school, my high school team was very, very good. And even when I got to high school in ninth grade, like I didn't play.
Okay.
My friends played, and then my best friend, rest in peace. He played basketball, he played football, and he was like, "Yo, you should play." Like, but in middle school, I played lacrosse. Like
Okay.
lacrosse, I played in seventh grade, eighth grade, um, and then ninth grade, I didn't do anything, and then 10th grade is kind of where I started playing football,
Okay.
basketball, and it kind of all
Yeah. Yeah.
started to
Yeah.
click a little bit. Yeah, so I was a real late bloomer.
Okay. Okay. That happens, which is fine. I feel like honestly, I feel like nowadays because of all the resources and stuff they have, you're probably never going to be a late bloomer
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of like being introduced to the sport.
yep,
But back when we were younger, yeah, it was really kind of like I don't know where your it was really about where your friends were at.
for sure.
I feel like it was more so of that. So when did you realize that you wanted to play basketball in college?
Um, Senior year,
Okay. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
my mom, she went to community college like a couple of semesters, um, and like college wasn't really talked about a ton in the household. We talk about a mentor, father figure, quote unquote, right? Like my high school coach, Coach Tom Diana, who's in the New York State Hall of Fame, he retired. He's the one that was like, "Listen, Mo, what are we doing?
Right.
Like what are we gonna do?" I think it was my senior year, maybe around November, December, January is when he kind of approached me and was
Okay.
like, "What's next?"
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, didn't really think about it too much.
Yeah.
My high school team was like really good, like New York State Final Four. We made trips to Glen Falls. Like, we were nice, and we've had play of the years. And so, I just had a role on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it was. I thought it was a big role, but it wasn't involved in like scoring all the points and this and that. Like, I did a lot of the dirty work and
Mhm. Mhm.
defended and all that stuff. So he was like, "Yeah, you're great with kids. Like, you've worked my camps every summer. I think you should be a PE teacher." And
Wow.
I was like, like initially, like, a lot of those figures and mentors are PE teachers in schools, right? Like they're
Correct.
like the cool teachers.
Correct.
They're
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
PE classes, they're
Mhm.
coaching, like they're having fun with kids. And so I believe 4 out of the 6 PE teachers at my high school all were Cortland grads.
Wow.
So they always talked about Cortland,
That's crazy.
the quads and Cortica and Dark Horse and everything.
Right. Right. Right.
And he was like, "Yo, I think you should be a PE teacher. Here's 2 schools, Cortland, Brockport. Springfield is elite as well, but
Okay.
out of state, single mom, I just knew I wouldn't be able to afford it." So he was like, "Cortland, Brockport, go home, do your homework, do your research." And I was like, I'm 17, 18 years old. I didn't do any research. There was a couple of people that went to Cortland from my high school, Aljamain Sterling, Troy Sterling, Andre Berry. So I contacted those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
They were all PE guys. How's
That's so
Cortland?
cool.
He's like, "Oh, this place is amazing. It's
That's
awesome."
fire.
And then, I think my high school coach had reached out to Coach Spanbauer and their staff, Coach Serge Clement, who is now an assistant at Hofstra. He came down to see me play, I believe, at a scrimmage, and
Okay.
then just helped me, guided me through the process from there.
That's so cool. So your recruiting process was kind of like a mixture of everybody that knew of Cortland.
Yeah,
That's fire.
yeah, for sure.
That's so fire. All right, so then let's jump into college. Okay, you step on C State campus, right?
Yeah.
What are the vibes like basketball wise, right? Well, like what is practice like? You played under a good coach and a
Yeah.
good program, right? And there's a lot of culture there. There's a lot of history in it,
For
right?
sure.
So what was that like as a freshman playing basketball here?
Yeah, so it was kind of like an unknown, to be honest. So I came to Cortland over the summer. Like, I was accepted into the EOP Education
Mhm.
Opportunity Program. So I was a part of the Summer Institute. So I had to come up here for about 7 weeks over the summer. And I had the opportunity. I think that was the first time that I actually met Coach Spanbauer.
Okay.
Just because he lets a lot of his assistants like kind of handle the recruitment process.
Mhm.
And so I didn't really deal with him too much. So that was the first time I met him. Got a chance to work out a couple of times here. So I was acclimated to the campus before the school started. But
Okay.
I mean, once it got going, we had a pretty extenuous process here at Cortland. Basically, it was a huge open tryout. So even though I was like somewhat recruited and other guys were somewhat recruited, everyone on campus basically had the same opportunity
Oh,
in
wow.
trying out for the team.
Wow.
So I had guys that were recruited that was like somewhat nervous because they
Yeah,
didn't know if
yeah.
they were going to make it.
Uh-huh.
And for me, I was just like, I don't know. Like, I came from a really good high school program. I think I have what it takes to make the team. I know they lost a lot of seniors and we were pretty young, but I mean, it was great, man. It was great. Like, we had one senior on the
Okay.
team that year, one junior on the team that year.
Wow.
And so we were full
Just
of like
young.
freshmen and sophomores. I honestly felt like initially that my high school practices were harder. Like, I thought we ran more and I thought just some of the things that we did were a little bit harder, but um, the college game and everything it comes with was waking up early, conditioning, going to class, strength training, like
Right.
all of that stuff
Right, right.
was new.
Right. And like the X's and O's included, right?
Yeah,
It's just so different. The way that you perform in college and high school is so different than the way you think. So that kind of wants me to like trampoline to another idea. What was your growth like from your freshman year until your senior year? And on top of that, you can kind of put it all together.
yeah,
But on top of that growth process, what are some things that you would highlight for these people, that these students,
yeah.
athletes especially, that are gonna watch this and be like, "Hey, bro, what do I do? I'm a freshman, or like I'm a sophomore. It's rough. Do I keep going? You know
Oh
what I'm
my,
saying?
yo,
There's so much involved,
yo,
right? So for you, what was that growth and that maturation? Really, it's maturing.
for
That
sure.
maturation process, like.
Yeah, so I mean, I tell kids, man, like I had a crazy career, like no lie, like crazy. Um, my first year, I get here, right? We go through that whole process. I ended up making the roster. I think we had about 15 to 16 guys on the roster. I'm just doing everything that I can do, right? Like everything I was taught in high school from a defensive standpoint, communication standpoint. I was never really like this big offensive player guy, like never needed to be. And so I remember our first scrimmage, Coach Spanbauer never like no one really knew like who was starting. Like first scrimmage, like he's calling names, and he's like, Mo. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm starting? Okay, cool.
Right.
Like, this is pretty dope. And so I actually started I think almost every game my freshman year.
Okay.
And like we were bad. Like we were at that point, I believe it was 8 teams that made the SUNYAC playoffs, and we were like 7 or 8
Gotcha.
maybe. Like again, we were young, we were inexperienced, like we were bad. So I did start every game, but it was on a pretty bad team. So going into my sophomore year, I was like, all right, like I had a little bit of a role, like I got a taste of it. I thought I worked my ass off over that summer. Played on a summer league team with a lot of my teammates that were from Long Island, and we really grinded and we thought we got better. And so going into my sophomore year, now the sophomores are juniors, the freshmen are sophomore. We bring in new freshmen. Like we think, okay, like everyone is still together. We got a chance to be good, and we were. Like we were pretty good my sophomore year. That year, I basically had a role of like starting the game, and then he'd take me out, and then I didn't play again.
Okay.
And I think for a lot of student athletes, like a lot of athletes out there, like right away, that can like trigger like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Why am I not playing? I'm starting every game, but I'm only playing like 4 total minutes a game. Like,
Right.
and so yeah, like it bothered me, and I was a little bit frustrated. But again, I think my high school coach did a really good job of like, hey, control what you can control. Everyone has a role. Like in order for a team to be successful, everyone needs to excel in that role.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, all right, this is my role. Like I'm going to start every game, and I'm going to try to give you the best 4 or 5 minutes that I can give you, whether it's an offensive rebound or a stop defensively or whatever. And so I would say I accepted that role, but I never was complacent in that role.
Okay.
Right. So I still came to practice and worked my ass off every day. So that was my sophomore year. We that year we lost in the SUNYAC championship to Oswego.
Okay.
And so we had a really good year. Going to my junior year, which we knew, like we brought almost everyone back. It was like the SUNYAC was ours to lose at that point, right? That year, my junior year, that was 2012, 2013 season. We ended up winning the regular season. We won the SUNYAC championship, and we hosted the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament.
That's fire.
For the last time. That was the last time our program have done that. And so that year, no lie, we played, I don't know, maybe 28, 29 games. I probably played in probably no more than 10 of them.
Wow.
And right, so right now, think about that. I went from starting every game my freshman year, starting every game, but only playing like 4 minutes a game my sophomore year,
Okay.
and then not getting into, maybe 13 or 15 games. So like
Crazy.
you talk about mental health and like being mentally tough and all that stuff. Like I think I exhibited that, right? Like, all right, this is my career path. Like this is my role. Again, I knew we were good. All right, what does the team need from me? Right? Like I'm not playing in every game, but I'm on that third team. I got to come to practice, bust my ass every day. I got to give the starter something. Like I'm still now, mind you, I'm still waking up at 5:30 in the morning,
Right.
riding my bike with Lamar and Terrence
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the park center. So I'm still grinding, but like that was my role. And in my senior year, I played a little bit more. Like started some games, played some games. Like it was
Okay.
kind of like up and down. And we had an okay season. We ended up losing in the first round, but
Okay.
yeah, that was my
That's
career.
that is
So
nuts.
like huge roller coaster.
So what I got from that was, and you mentioned it, right, is the mental side of it,
Yeah,
right? And I don't think I've talked to a bunch of people on here, man, that were athletes about this, and it goes over heads, right? This emotional roller coaster of not just sports but life, because like you said, yeah, like you're going through all that with sports, but still to do your grades.
oh yeah.
There's still issues with teammates, girls,
Mom's
your
still at home in Long
mom's at the
Island.
crib,
Yeah,
right? Family stuff. You could just be sick. You know what I'm saying? Physical stuff,
yeah,
right? And so all of that has its toll on our physical, but our mental as well.
yep,
And I think, like you said, you do exhibit that, right? Because we're gonna continue this conversation about where you're at currently. But I don't think, bro, I don't think you are who you are if that doesn't happen. I don't think that you obtain the things that you've obtained after the fact in terms of success if that doesn't happen. I don't think you're a good father if that doesn't happen, right? I
yeah,
think all of these things have a rhyme and a reason as to why you're at where you are and who you are
for
to
sure.
this day, right? So after you finish your senior year, what got you into wanting to be a coach?
Yeah. So my goal was like, all right, I'm gonna go to Cortland. This is like Harvard of phys ed, right?
Right,
Like
right.
I'm gonna go to Cortland. I'm gonna get a PE job. And so my dream was like, all right, graduate from Cortland, try to get a PE job, um, get a high school varsity coaching job, and like try to win some state titles. Like if you told me when I was 18, 19 years old, like that was going to be my career trajectory, like you're going to graduate, you're going to go back to Long Island, coach high school basketball, and try to win some state titles. Sign me up any day,
Got you.
right? And so, but it took me, I had to do an extra year. So I had to do an extra semester before I student taught. And so for my fifth year, basically, I only needed 3 classes that I had to take.
Okay.
In order to become like a full-time student, you need 12 credits, right, for
Right.
financial aid.
Right.
So like there was literally no more classes that I needed to take or
Okay.
almost could take. So shout out to Coach Spanbauer. He was like, listen, I'll give you a 3 credit like independent studies with the team.
Okay.
So now that gets me to 12. He
Got
basically
you.
was like, yo, you'll be like a student assistant.
Okay.
So like you'll go to your classes that you need to go to in the fall, and then come to practices, be in the office, like really like be a part of it.
Cool.
And like no lie, once I started doing that, it just boom opened my eyes to like college athletics, higher education. Like, whoa, this is what I want to do. Like right away, I think
Wow.
simultaneously, like I knew like, all right, I want to coach college basketball now.
That's great. So how long were you an assistant at Cortland State?
So I was an assistant for 8 years.
Okay.
So 4 years as an assistant coach. And then when we sat down to really like, okay, do you want to do this? Like, is this what you want to do? And obviously I answered yes. I was promoted to associate head coach for my last 4 years.
Okay.
Got a little bit more of a responsibility
Right.
on and off the court to help prepare me for the day to become a head coach. And then, yeah, so 8 years
That's crazy.
under Coach Spanbauer. So 4 as a player and 8 as his assistant slash associate head coach.
That's amazing. So after Cortland, what did you do then, coaching wise?
Yeah, so all right, so 8 years. My first year, we won a SUNYAC. That was 2016. Had a chance to coach JP Reagan and some other
That's
really
cool.
really good guys, and then from there, like we've kind of had some ups and downs regarding like success. And everyone kind of has their own definition for like success. And so I think we did have some success through those seasons, but we never really won the ultimate goal, right, of winning the conference championship. And so I learned a lot. a lot of like what I would do when I eventually get my own program, but also some stuff of what I wouldn't do.
Got you.
And then a lot of people actually don't know this. I applied for the head coaching job at Ithaca College.
Okay.
And so I did that, and I felt really good about that process. I think at the time it was just right for me. And I know the whole Cortland, Ithaca, red, blue, public, private, Cortica thing. And I was real big within that process. But, you know, my wife and I had just bought a home, and she was working at Marathon, and Ithaca's right there. So I was a finalist for that job. Thought I was going to get it. I didn't get it. And I was upset because I thought I did a really good job. But, you know, we talk about things happen for a reason, right? I wouldn't be sitting here in the position I am now if I did. But so I didn't get that. And I will never forget this day. Shout out to my wife, Lindsay, because this was like a crazy time. We usually take walks, like especially on Sundays after dinner. Like we take walks around the neighborhood. We're living on Pro Street. I remember we were taking a walk, and she literally stopped me, and she was like, "What do you want to do?" Like, and I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, she was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to be a head coach. Like, I want to coach. That's what I want to do." I was working in admissions at the time as well.
Okay.
8 years as an assistant, 8 years as a full-time admissions counselor. So I was doing both. And I was like, "I want to coach." And she was like, "Listen, I know you love Cortland. I know this place means the world to you. I know that's like your dream job, but like open up the blinders and like look at other places."
Okay.
She basically was like, "I'm a special education teacher. I'm good at what I do. I have all these certifications. Wherever you go, I'm going to get a job." And so I was like, all right, like this is my significant other, my wife basically telling me like, "Yo, let's go. Like, if this is what you want to do, let's go."
Yeah.
So fast forward, I came back to Cortland. I coached for about a year or two. And then Dave Klatsky ended up getting the job at NYU.
Okay.
He was an assistant coach at Colgate University for about 11 years. I knew him because my assistant now, Pat Stasiak, he was a director of basketball operations at Colgate for about 3 years. So I used to go to Colgate, watch the games, like try to go to their practices. So I knew Dave a little bit. And when he got that job, like right away, instantly, I was like, "Lindsay, would you want to leave here and maybe go down to the city?" Like, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "You know, Coach Klasky just got this job at NYU. Like, I know he needs to fill his staff. I need to be a full-time like coach. Like, I love the admissions thing. Like, it was awesome. Love the people that I met. Love the experiences that I got with it. But I need to coach." And so she was like, "Yeah, like I'm down." I called Coach Spanbauer, said, "You know, there's an opportunity for me to go to NYU." And he was like, "Whatever you want me to do, let me know." And so I called a couple of other people within the profession to like, because at the end of the day, everyone knew like Cortland was the job.
Right.
Right. That was the job. And so, you know, I knew Coach Spanbauer was on the verge of retiring at some point. And I was just like, all right, Cortland is all I knew as a player, 8 years as a coach. I need to see something different, something new, and to have the opportunity to, one, I've been away from home for, I don't know, like 12 years. Right, straight.
Right.
And so to go get back closer to home, my wife and I, to go work at an institution like NYU, national brand, and then to go coach in the UAA, which is one of the top 2 or 3 conferences in Division III, it was like a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
So I went through that process and was fortunate enough that Coach Klasky decided that I was the guy for the job, and so spent my last year there.
Okay. And let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a couple of your favorite or more memorable experiences at NYU.
Oh man, I have so many, and I was only there for a year.
Right.
But like so many, I mean, just great people, like great people from administration, coaches. Shout out to my guy CT, Ethan, Coach Klasky, those guys, and the players were great. So I would say moments. I don't know. It had to be honest, like it's like a collective of like the last couple of weeks there.
Okay.
In the season. So NYU, right? Historic program, their women's team. Shout out to the women's team as well. They went undefeated this year, won a national championship.
That's crazy.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Coach Meg Barber, their head coach, she was just named the head coach for the USA under 17 team, which is dope. So
that's lit.
But they've been bad. Like the men's team have been like bad for like the last 6 or 7 years. We were voted to finish last in the conference. And so we had a very, very weak non-conference schedule, and we went like 11-0 non-conference. We're
Wow.
like, oh wow, like the players thought we were really good. As coaches, we're like, we don't know how good we are. So fast forward, like we're playing in a really tough league. Like we didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. We didn't know what was going on. And then like credit to Coach Klasky, we literally like our last 3 weeks of that season, we treated it like it was like a playoff. So the UAA is the only conference in the country that does not have a playoff.
Okay.
So there's no conference tournament.
Oh wow. So your record is like everything.
Everything.
Okay.
So we treated like the last couple of weeks like a conference tournament, and like, so I remember like the last couple of weeks we played Washington University from St. Louis at home, was like top 15 in the country, beat them. Played University of Chicago, beat them. Then we go on the next weekend. We fly to Atlanta. We beat Emory on a crazy game. We fly to Rochester. NYU hasn't beaten Rochester in like, I don't know, 10 years. Haven't beaten them at their home in like 15 years.
Right.
We beat Rochester at their place.
That's crazy.
And then we come back for our senior night against Brandeis, who beat us by 25 early in the year. At that point, we kind of know, like, you know, we're talking to some other people around the country, and they're like, yo, if you guys win this game, you might get in the tournament. And it's our senior day.
Yeah.
And so we end up beating Brandeis, and it's like crazy. We're like, we think we're in. And like the moment of on that Monday, being in that conference room, you know, seeing NYU's name called and the conference, the selection show was like incredible. Yeah. Like that was like probably like my most memorable, I would say, there, like proudest moments to like see the joy and the happiness and like the smiles, the laughter, the crying, because like we knew like how hard we worked to see our name like come up on that TV screen.
Yeah.
And we believed that we earned it. So it was incredible. There's so many memories, like the travel was insane. Like,
right.
So much stuff that we did. I guess one other thing, if we got time.
Yeah, of course.
So Coach Mike Krzyzewski, everyone knows I'm a UNC fan, but I had the opportunity to coach my guy Michael Savarino, who's the grandson of Coach K. And so we actually had the opportunity to go to Duke and practice at Duke and attend Duke versus Florida State. And like even as a UNC fan, like that memory's insane. Like I've never been to the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill, and so like I've been to Cameron Indoor before. I've been to the Dean Dome, which is crazy. But like having the opportunity to practice there, have Coach K speak with our team, us as a staff get a chance to speak with him, like kind of tour their facilities, stay on campus, and then attend that game was like
that's crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
incredible.
That's crazy. And think like on all those memories, right? None of that happens, bro, if you don't leave.
Yeah.
None of it happens if Lindsay doesn't stop you like, yo, what do you want to do? None of that happens if you don't make that decision like, I think I'm going to. It's kind of crazy. I think sometimes people don't realize like risk, calculated risk, obviously.
For sure.
Can lead to not just success, but memories and moments that we never, ever, ever may have imagined to happen like they have for you.
Yeah.
So after NYU, let's talk that.
Yeah. So, right, we sell our house August of 2022 or July of 2022. Moved down to Long Island. I coach at NYU. I actually had an opportunity when we played at Rochester. Coach Klasky let me leave our shoot around a little bit early, or our practice, and Cortland was playing in Rochester against Geneseo.
Oh, wow.
So I actually got a chance to go and
That's cool.
see the guys and talk to Coach Spanbauer. And, you know, they're like, I kept up with Coach Span throughout the year. We always chatted about hoops, life, and all that stuff. And, you know, I started to get word that, like, this really might be his last year. You know, talk to Coach Klasky about it. It was all rumors at that point. It was nothing hardcore. Like, he never told me, like, Mo, this is it for me. Like, so when I finally found out, you know, right away, it's like, wow, you know, this is the job. Like, this is the job I've always wanted. This is the dream job. Like, yeah, I left, but this is like home away from home for me. So talked to Coach Klasky. You know, he understood that like my goal was to become a head coach. And obviously Cortland is like the icing on the cake for that standpoint. And he was like, all right, whatever I need to do to help you get this job, let's do it. You know, obviously I loved you as an assistant in his first year, in our first year, and we had some success. But going through the interview process with him, he always told me, like, I'm going to help you accomplish your goals and your aspirations. And so if it's only having you for 1 year and that's it. So yeah, at that point I started making phone calls,
Yeah, yeah,
and I talked to a lot of alum. I emailed Mike Ertz, our AD, just to let him know, hey Mike, congratulations on a great year as a department. You know, heard about Coach Spanbauer retiring. I'm very interested in the position. He got back to me and was like, hey, thank you for reaching out. Hope all is well. I'm glad to know that you're interested. You got to go through the process like everyone else, which
right,
which I figured, like, rightfully so. And then yeah, I got the application in, submitted it, called more people just to kind of like, how can I make this happen, right?
right, right.
And at that point, it was a long process. I think Coach Spanbauer retired in like February, March. I believe application probably went live like late March, early April. And then it was just like, phone call,
Yeah,
Zoom interview, on campus interview, and then got the call from Mike Ertz. I believe it was May 25th, kind of to be exact. So really, almost a year
I
ago.
was gonna say, yeah, that's crazy.
Almost a year ago, and I was offered the position. But it
Well,
was it was definitely a long process, and
yeah,
like I had a lot of people reach out to me, and like, which was awesome. But I was really going into it with like, listen, man, this is a win-win for me. Yes, this is my dream job. Yes, Cortland is a place that have given me so much, and I have so much love and for the place. But if I didn't get it, yeah, I would have been pissed. But like, I was back at home. I was at NYU, a
right,
national brand.
right.
I knew we were going to be very good the following year, which is this year. And they ended up winning the NCAA tournament game and hosting the first 2 rounds. And so I looked at it as like, this is a win-win for me, man. I can't lose in any situation. If I
Right.
get it, I'm happy as hell.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
finally a head coach. Let's rock. Let's go. If I don't get it, yes, I'm pissed off. But I'm back at NYU. I'm going to have an opportunity at some point, to get myself back out there and possibly become a head coach.
That's crazy. So Mike Ertz calls you, right? You see the number, you see the name pop up on the phone.
Yeah.
What is it like, though?
Yeah. So
Like initially.
phone rings, right? 6:07. Like, so I pick up. I remember I was at my dining room table. Lindsay is with our son at the time. Like, now we have a newborn son. He's about a month old. Lindsay's in the room with him. I'm in the dining room. Hey Mo, Mike Ertz here. Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing? Nothing, man. How are you? I'm good. Can't complain. Like, just kind of busy with the little guy. And hey, man, I'm calling you. I'm gonna get straight to it. I'm calling you to offer you the position. Almost dropped the phone, smiling from ear to ear. Heart is like pounding. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
wow. Now my guy, he's in there sleeping, so like I didn't want to yell and wake him up,
yeah, yeah.
but just like super, super excited, man.
Yeah.
Like wow. Like, and he's like, listen, man, like, don't say anything to anyone yet. Like, I got to obviously call the other candidates and let them know that they didn't get it, but I want to offer you the position. You can take a couple days and think about it, and and I'm like, for what? Like, think about what?
What?
Think about
We
what?
gotta
Yeah, man,
sign
let's
that
do it.
thing.
Let's, like, Mike, let's go, man.
That's
Let's do it.
awesome,
Let's
bro.
do it, man. I'm ready to go.
For
I'm
sure.
ready to go,
For
Mike.
sure.
Let's go, man. There's a tournament in Albany this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not even,
yeah.
I haven't signed a contract yet. I'm ready
I'm
to
ready to
roll.
prove.
Like, I got
Yeah.
some. Again, I've been at Cortland for 12 years. I gave away some stuff, but I still have some stuff in the basement. I got some polos. I'm ready to go. So that was just super exciting. I remember walking into the room and just like looking at Lindsay, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, thumbs up. I got, like, kind of whispering, like, I got the job. Like, yeah, I'll never forget that day. That was
Yeah.
like life changing.
Yeah. So when you like now, when you sit back and you think about it, like you said, it's been a year, and you think back to that moment, and then you think back to all of those steps that get you to this spot,
Yeah.
right? This dream job. What do you think it was about you? What attribute about you do you think it was that allowed you to be where you are right now?
It's a good question. I don't know, man. I just think I am who I am. Like this is who you're going to get, right? And so I think going into that interview process, my job was to show the committee, Mike Ertz, administration that like I wasn't just Mo that everyone knew that played there and that was like an assistant there and just was under Coach Spanbauer. Like my goal going into that interview process throughout the whole process was like not to prove to people because like, but just to show them like, yo, listen, man, like I'm built for this. Like, yes, I played here. Yes, I coached here, and this was all I knew. And we had some success, but it wasn't to a level like the other programs on campus. And we were respectable and we had a good culture. But like I'm built for this. I love it. It's my passion. I can't see myself doing anything else. I think everyone sees me as this like very optimistic, like nice guy, but like I'm very competitive. I'm fiery. I want to win. Like, and so I think I showed that throughout that process. And I'm a Cortland guy.
Yeah, for
sure.
I'm
a Cortland guy. Not to say that like, because you're from Cortland, you got to get that job. Like, I don't think that. Did it play a part in it? Probably. Like, I think one of the first things he told me is when I saw him during the process was like, my email hasn't stopped and my phone hasn't stopped with the amount of alums that like were reaching out on my behalf, which is awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Right. Like people from the 90s, the 80s, 2000s, like, which is great. But like, no, I deserve this job because I put my time in. I know this place like the back of my hand. I've recruited pretty well. I left and experienced some like really high success working in a really, really tough conference with some high level athletes.
Right.
And I grew like in that 8 to 9 month span of being away from Cortland and being down in the city. I put myself in uncomfortable situations and I grew like tremendously in 9 months.
Yeah.
And so like, I thought all of that kind of piled into like the reason why the call was made, and there's probably some other things that I don't know the committee may have talked about and some other decisions that were made, but I just wanted to show who I was. Like,
yeah.
This is what you're getting, and if I'm not who you want or who you like, and if it needs to be someone else, then so be it. But like, I just wanted to show who I was, my passion for the program, my passion for the institution, and just to really show everyone like. I'm not just Mo, the player, and who was the assistant. Like, I can run my own program. I can be the top guy. I can be the guy that makes those difficult decisions. And yeah, so I'm hoping that was part of the reason why, I got that call that day.
Yeah, that's cool, man. The whole time you're talking about it right now, I'm thinking about the conversations we had behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Throughout all of it, right? From COVID on, right?
Yep.
From the Ithaca stuff to all that stuff, man. And it was so cool for me when I found out from you about it because I'm like, yo, he did it. Like, he finally did it. And not just he did it, right? For me, it's more so like, and he's going to change the program.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to implement something different. So my next question to you, my last question to you about basketball is this is so crazy how it is, but we talked about this forever ago before you got the head coaching job, is what is your mantra? What's your coaching philosophy, right? Now, this is not even X's and O's. This is like, you have an opportunity now, obviously, but you have this opportunity now to like rebrand essentially.
Yeah.
Your culture and your identity.
For sure.
So what's your coaching philosophy for Cortland State men's basketball right now?
Yeah. Before I get to that, I just want to say like, I have the opportunity, my first head coaching job to get one of the best jobs in the state, right? Like,
crazy.
I didn't get a job that I had to come in and like tear everything up and like fully revamp, right? Which was awesome. I recruited a lot of those guys. Again, it's a program that I grew up in, blood, sweat, and tears, 4 years of playing, 8 years coaching. Like, so I knew it, the ins and outs of it. So I didn't have to come and restructure a ton.
Okay.
My job coming in was to up the standards and the expectation.
Okay.
That's really like, that was what it was. It was like, listen, I learned a lot from Coach Spanbauer of like what I would want my program to look like. Mm-hmm. But I also learned some things that I wouldn't do when the time came and I got my own program. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there. Like,
absolutely,
I got a great job that I didn't have to come in and really like change a lot. I just needed to change the mentality of the student athletes and how they attack their everyday.
Okay.
And so that's a big part of like what I stand for and what I represent. Almost every day I talk to my guys about controlling what you can control. And that's a big part of who I am. That's a big part of our program. And that's a big part of our guys. It's like, listen, from a basketball standpoint, like you're never going to control making shots, missing shots. Like you have a little bit of control in your opponent being able to make shots or miss shots, but like control everything that you can control. Your intensity level, your communication, how you communicate effectively, how hard you play, your ability to box out, your ability to talk on the defensive end, your ability to take good shots, your ability to move on to the next play, your ability to have good body language, like all of that stuff. Like you don't need any talent. Like you can be Joe Schmo from off the street and be able to do all of those things without having to be like the greatest basketball player ever.
Agreed.
And so like we always talk about like don't lose to Cortland. Like right away, don't lose to Cortland, meaning that like making sure day in and day out we're controlling all that we control.
I like that.
And then we talk about like just being great. Like we've been good, but like we want to be great and not just great on Monday and then be mediocre on Tuesday and then be great on Wednesday and be so-so on Thursday. Like let's be great every single day in everything that we do.
I love that.
Because there's a correlation, right? I don't want you to be like this elite basketball player and like putting all this time in the gym between your classes and then like you're going to class and showing up 5 minutes late. You're going to class and you're wearing slippers and PE activity courses. You're sitting in the back with your headphones on. Like, if you're going to be great on the court, I want you to be great in the classroom. I want you to be great in the community. Like, you represent more than yourself. And so that's kind of like, that's been our mindset. And then just like getting better every day.
For sure.
That's it. Like, everyone talked about like, yo, what was your goal this year? Yeah, like everyone wants to freaking win. Like, but coming into it, I was like, yo, talking to my staff, which awesome staff. Shout out to DJ, Ben, Pat, Blake, James. I had a huge staff, Joe, Drewski. Like, it was like, yo, let's get better every day. As a staff, we can't have any days off. No matter how it's going. If I don't get any sleep all night because MJ's up till 4, like, we can't have any days off. These guys have to see our energy. They have to see our passion. They have to know that we are here to serve them.
Right.
And so, like, let's try to get them better every day and grow. And I thought we did that.
That's awesome. To kind of flip it full circle, you talked about your staff a little bit. Okay, I just want to hit on that.
Yeah.
You were in situations up until your first head coaching job, where you were part of some good staffs, right? Yeah. And then in the NYU experience, even the head coach basically told you, like, I want to help you, right? How now that you've done it, how willing are you to do that for your staff, right? And it sounds dumb, and it might sound like a question that's like, but human nature for some people is to be restricted.
For sure.
Is to be like,
this is mine.
Ben, you've DJ figured that out on your own, right?
This is my baby.
Or like, no, you guys are mine. Where are you going? Right? So what's your philosophy on that as far as helping your staff get to place they want to be? Because ultimately, bro, a Ben, a DJ, they want to be head coach, whether it's high school, whatever it is. What's your philosophy with that?
Yeah, and I think like what helped shape my philosophy is like some of my mentors around the profession, but it goes back to NYU. Now, I did have like a decent responsibility when I was the assistant and associate head coach at Cortland. But like, to be honest with you, like Coach Spanbauer, like 28 years here, like there were some things that like, hey, this is my way. Like, this is how we're going to do things. Like, no, I'm going to do this. And it's as simple as like, he, as a head coach, he did all the travel arrangements. Like, I didn't do any of that stuff.
Gotcha.
I go to NYU. We have like 3 big trips where we're flying out of JFK on Thursday. Right. We're flying to Ohio. We're going to Pittsburgh. And then we're coming back Sunday.
Right.
Like, Coach Classy was like, all right, Mo, like, you guys figure out whose trip it is. Like, just like that. Like, boom, just put that on my plate. And I'm like, damn, I was just coaching for 8 years. I never had to, like, I didn't book any, like, now my experiences in admission, booking stuff helped. But, like, and it was to a point where it's like, all right, Mo, what are we eating tonight?
Oh, wow.
What time will we have film tomorrow?
Gosh.
What time is our bus leaving? What time is our shoot around? When are we leaving? What are we eating for dinner?
That's crazy.
Which is like, initially, whoa.
Right.
And then shout out to my guy, Chris Thompson. He taught me how to be a better assistant coach because we were just in competition and grinding of how to make Coach Klasky's life easier. But like, that was like, wow. And then you get to the basketball standpoint. This is your scout. All right, what are we doing in practice this week? Now, like I did the assistants at Cortland. Like when Coach Bambar was the coach, we did the scouting reports,
Right.
and we had some input and game plans. But like he made the initial decisions, obviously, right? But like Coach Klasky at NYU was like, "Yo, you're playing. All right, Mo, U of R is your scout. Perfect. We're doing personnel Wednesday, offense, defense Thursday, Friday. We're putting it all together. I expect these clips. I don't want it to be this long. What are the matchups? What are their ball screen coverages? How do we attack it? What do we need to work on in practice this week to prepare us for that game?"
Wow.
Like right away. And I was like just thrown in the fire.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I thought I was ready, which I thought I did a good job, right? Like, and he was demanding and like I needed that, and that was great. And so and when I talk about me developing in those 8 to 9 months to help me to become who I am today, the moments like that like helped.
Got you.
And so like when I got the job and I called Pat, and Ben actually called me before I got the job and was like, "Yo, I'm doing my master's. I loved it. If you get the job, I want to be around." Ben, no brainer.
Right.
Like guys were like already texting me like, "Yo, if you get the job, is Coach Ben going to still be around?"
Gotcha.
Like, Ben, no brainer. Like I watch you grind. I know what you represent. Our values align.
Right.
And then Pat, like I knew him, for 10 plus years.
Right.
That was an easy phone call. DJ, Ryan Schmadel, right? We talk about full circle in life and connections. And Ryan Schmadel's a guy from the Utica area who I recruited, and knew DJ. And knew DJ was coming to Cortland to get his master's and wanted to get around coaching. So right away, I was like, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. I had a student, like I feel like we had a Division I staff,
Cool.
right? Like 3 like assistants that I say full-time. They're not full-time assistants, right? But like they basically like with their energy and the effort and how much time we spend on trying to make this program great, it's like a full-time job. Right? And not getting paid and all that stuff. Student manager, student assistant, and we had a director of data analytics. Shout out to Chloe Wu. She was our director of media content. Like we had a huge staff.
Mm-hmm.
But right away, like to go to your question, I was like, okay, my job is not to like, this is my program. I'm going to like look over you and micromanage this. And no, like, listen, man, I signed off on this because I trust you guys. And so like, hey, listen, boom. You're like, all right, you got that. You got that. Like I remember the first day, like my first practice, all right, Ben, 5 minutes, ball handling. You got the whole team. Go ahead. Yeah, 5 minutes. Like, all right, warm us up, get us right. You got ball handling. Like all right, DJ, you got a box out drill we can do? I got one. All right, run it. Pat, like the thing with Pat, which was awesome because like how we play is a lot of like what Colgate does. And that's how we played at NYU. Okay. And so Pat was a great hire because he had 3 years of that experience. And so the terminology was like, we were in sync on that standpoint.
Got you.
So like, all right, Pat, like, but also he won a championship at Vassar, their first and only championship ever.
Oh, wow.
And so like, all right, like, what are some of the things you guys did? Like, all right, you got that drill. You run that. All right, shell drill. We're playing Plattsburgh. We're playing Oswego. Same thing, right? What Coach Klasky did to me. What are matchups? What's the game plan? What do we got to do? All right, like show me. Like I expect you guys to know 3, 4, 5 of like their most ran sets. Walk it through shell, like hands off, handcuffs off, like because that's the only way you learn, right? Like you learn, and they want to be coaches, and so I like right away. I was like, I'm not going to micromanage. I'm going to like throw these guys in the fire, and it's not really throw them in the fire because. Like, I thought they were ready. I thought they were built for it. I thought they did an amazing job. And I couldn't really imagine going through my first year without those guys. Yeah. And I thought we grew together as a staff. And that's what excites me more heading into year 2 because I know, like, I got my whole staff, coming back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For this next part, okay, maybe the most important to me, probably to you as well. Let's talk family, okay, fatherhood. Okay. The husband life, right? Shout out to your wife, obviously, Lindsay. Shout out to Lindsay. Let's talk. What's fatherhood like, man? What's it like?
Man, it's different every single day, but it's such a blessing. Like, oh my gosh! Like, one, right? I'm big on like I have at my office on a piece of paper, right? Like, what is your why? Like, it's just on my wall. Like, what's your why? Like, why do you wake up every day? Why do you do what you do? Why do you go hard? Like what's your purpose, right? And life in itself. And I think that helps me like through the bad days to kind of
Absolutely.
get through and push through. And so like I've had a lot of whys, right? My wife Lindsay, my mom at home, just me wanting to get better every day and grow and things of that nature. But like now adding him to the mix, it's like, yo, every decision that I make revolves around like my immediate family, which is Lindsay and MJ,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, so that's been like insane. But just to watch him, so he'll be next week. He'll be 14 months
Okay.
on June 1st.
Okay.
He'll be 14 months. So one, the like his first year, blur. Don't even know where it went. And part of that is us like selling our house and
Right.
then
Right. Doing all
moving and
that
then
stuff.
moving
Yeah.
back and all that. But like it's just such a blessing to see him grow and develop and like start to have some personality and form into who he's going to be. Like him waking up every single morning and seeing him smiling and laughing. Like it doesn't matter how your day is going, like good or bad, and even if it's bad, like he's going to brighten up my day and like put me back in the perspective of like, all right, this
That's
is why
awesome.
you're doing what you're doing.
For
Like
sure.
you have someone that you need to mold and grow and be there for. So man, it's great. It's
That's
awesome.
so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man. So in closing, okay,
Yep.
last question. I ask it to everybody. We talk about, and we've talked about a little bit, but adversity,
Yeah.
right? Things that we deal with, tough times, moments that shape us and make us and cause us to kind of decide where we want to go.
Okay.
Can you think of a time in your life where you went through something tough that um, that has shaped you, right? That has molded you and made you into who you are today?
Um, that's a good one. So I don't now. Obviously, like there were so many times, like we, like you said, we talked about some of the stuff that I hit from an adversity standpoint throughout college, and I'm gonna kind of like sum everything up.
Okay.
Like I'm 32 years old. I'm kind of gonna sum up like my life,
Okay.
especially the earlier times, and I think that's like a lot of the adversity have shaped me into who I am and like why I do what I do and like pushes me. So we talked about single mom.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout my life, like I've lived in shelters, me, my mom, my sister, to the point like, growing up out with your friends, like I gotta be back early because when that shelter door locks, like that's it, you know, um, like stuff like that, I never forget. I never forget like living in different houses, whether it's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, different schools, like that's the stuff like I'll never forget. Like seeing my mom go through the struggles of like providing for myself and my sister, even my brother that was with my dad, like I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Um so like that's like I would say it's a lot of like the adversity. It's not just like one like moment that have forced me to pivot. It's all the little things that I've watched and I've seen and I experienced since my childhood, growing up through elementary school, middle school, and high school, um, which has shaped me. Like, I don't know, like I tell a story. I was actually kicked out of school in middle school, right? Like, again, keep things in perspective. Like,
Right.
everyone's not perfect. So I was actually expelled from middle school. Like, nothing crazy, like just being a child,
Yeah. Yeah.
young, making
Yeah.
dumb decisions. And so I think that was like a wake up call. Mom was like, yo, like you got to get it together. If you don't get it together, you're going to have to go live with your dad. Like you got to figure it out. And then right away, it's like, all right, what am I doing? And then that helped me get involved in sports.
Gotcha.
All right, now I have an outlet.
Right.
The school bell rings, ninth period's over. I don't have all this free time to make bad decisions. I'm going straight to practice. I'm with people that are like-minded. I'm with people that want to be successful. Now I'm spending more time with my coach, right? It's like, so like that particular moment, I would say if there was one, that was the one that like, all right, dude, like you're still young. You're in 7th grade. What are you doing? Like, figure it out. Like, figure it out. And so that was like a big light bulb. All right, like Mo, come on, get it together.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say like all the memories and the experiences that I went through with my mom, with my sister, with my brother, with my dad to a degree, have really shaped me to like keep going.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, yo, and I'm like, I don't regret my upbringings at all, like whatsoever, like not one bit. But it just forces me to like, all right, this is what I want MJ's life to be like.
For
Right
sure.
now, it ties back to him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
This is what I want for him.
Yeah.
This is what I want for Lindsay. This is what I want to build for the Kearney name and the Kearney household. Like, so it's a lot of experiences and a lot of me failing and like having to pivot and figure stuff out and
sure.
grow into who I am today. That's kind of shaped me into like, all right, this is the path that I'm on, and this is why I'm coached. Like, this is why I coach, because I had a lot of coaches that have helped put me in this position. Like my high school coach, my high school football coach, God rest his soul. He actually passed away this year.
Okay.
It's one of my close friends, Dante Epps, his dad. I mean, like, those are the people that like have pushed me and shaped me. And so like, it's like, no, people ask, why do you coach? I make a lot of like, I make good enough money to like survive and raise a family, but like I coach because I serve. Like my goal is to serve people, to give back to these young men.
I love it.
And to try to put them in a position where like, all right, hey man, listen, you're going to face some hard times. Life's not going to be easy. You're going to hit some bumps in the road, but how can we get you over that bump, that hump? How can we get you to persevere, stay strong, and be successful? And so like, that's why I do it. And then when you see like the byproduct of like my guys, I went to graduation and Kareem Lubin and Danny, they're graduating, and take pictures with them and their families, like smiling on my face. Because I remember those guys, 11th grade, 12th grade, recruiting them, and then to see them go through the adversity and bumps and the road throughout their career at Cortland, and then to see them walk across the stage, like, that's why you do it, right? That's the satisfaction of it. So, yeah, man, it's been awesome.
So I've never done this before, but I was thinking about this. So we're going to do a little hypothetical. Okay, so we're going to pretend, I'm going to give some names of people, okay?
Yep.
We're going to pretend that they walk in the door. You have one sentence to say to them, okay? First person, the young Mo, middle school Mo. He walks in right now. What do you say to him? You get one sentence. And you're at where you are now.
Right now.
So what are you looking at him and saying?
Young Mo, I'm looking at young Mo and I'm telling him, go to class, stay out the hallway, play basketball, because they actually wanted me to play in middle school. Like, go play basketball and be around people that want to see you succeed.
Cool.
Yep.
Your mom walks in today. What are you saying to her?
2 words. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you for guiding me and putting me in a position to be successful. Thank you for showing me the way. Thank you for, providing with me the opportunity to be where I am today.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't hard. It wasn't it wasn't easy. And she could have easily like given up, but she's like, no, like, I'm going to find ways to put you and your sister and your brother in positions to do what you need to do. I mean, my mom has shown us a lot, like making dentist appointments, like everything. No lie, like just like, yo, you're going to grow up. So just 2 words. Thank you.
Got you. My boy MJ waddles in.
Yo.
What do you say to MJ?
Man, the world is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You can do anything you desire with hard work, discipline, commitment, resilience, and controlling everything that you can control.
Yeah.
And just being consistent in everything that you do. You can do anything. You want to be the next president? Let's do it. You want to go to the NBA? Let's try to do it. You want to be the best clarinet player in the world and end up on Broadway? Like let's do it. You can do it, and it's my job as your father, to provide you with those resources and hopefully to kind of push you through.
Love that. Your homies walk in, man, that you grew up with, met in college.
Yeah.
Like, they seen you today, man. What's it like? What are you telling them?
Yeah. Again, I think another thank you, because a lot of my friends, like, have been in my corner, from thick and thin, and have seen me grow and develop to who I am. A lot of my friends, we were doing a lot of the same things, and we all grew up and turned the corner and went in the right direction. My teammates, appreciate you for dealing with who I was as a player, as a teammate. I actually was out in California this past weekend. One of my teammates, Garen, he just got married.
Oh wow.
And, when you talking about teammates that I haven't seen since my wedding, 5 years ago, some I haven't seen in 8, 9 years. Like, and that's, you play the game because you love it and, you want to be competitive, but it's the bonds and the memories and the camaraderie that you build that's going to last a lifetime. So for my teammates, I appreciate the memories, the bond, all the blood, sweat, and tears, everything that we went through, to get us to where we are today.
And last, certainly not least, Lindsay, man. She walks in. What do you say?
Yo, I appreciate you, Lens. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I was a sophomore, heading into my sophomore year. She was heading into a freshman year when I met Lindsay down in Long Island, and then, became friends, workout partners, lunch buddies.
Yeah.
And then here we are, going in our 5th year. We'll be 5 years married this coming August. And so, just I appreciate you for being who you are, for having that conversation with me on that Sunday walk, to help push me to be the best version of myself, to not being a yes man and to like, hey, you're crazy. No, like, but to also push me. You can do this. You can do that. Like, stay level headed. Like, see it through. And so, yeah, just the appreciation of like being the mother to my child or our child, and like just being a backbone and someone that I can lean on.
Absolutely. My guy, appreciate you. This is great.
Absolutely, yo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I want to give you your flowers. Like, this is awesome. Like, you've had some crazy, great guests. Like, I've been tuned in almost every episode.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully, the student athletes or just anyone who tunes into this episode or all of them can take something from it.
For sure.
Take something from it.
Definitely will. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
Lit.
Good shit.
That was a good one, bro. That was a good one.